Hello, it is Kathy from Nothing So Strange. Haven't made a video in a little while. I really meant to keep up better, and then it was great. One of the people that puts neat little pieces of art in here did a little, really short little video and put it up on TikTok, and it got a couple thousand views, which we're half an hour south of Richmond, when the Richmond metro area has a million people, give or take. But I'm in Petersburg. There's 30,000 people in this town. This is a small town. So yeah, 2,000 views on TikTok and 1,000 shares and whatnot. So for a couple of weekends now, everybody that's been coming in has been like, I saw your TikTok, and we've been a little busier than usual. That's been wonderful. Nice little shot in the arm there. Because retail, summer 2026. Ouch. Anyway, I know I've said for the last two videos I've made, I think I've said something about how I really thought I'd made a lot more, or I just have the impression I filmed a lot more decks than I have, and it's because I mean to, and then, the dishwasher floods the kitchen, or I work late every night for a week or something, and then, I have it in my head, well, I really meant to do that last week, and I didn't. So I was watching the Hermit's Cave the other day. Simon had a video up of Destiny's Gypsy Biedermeier deck, old fortune telling deck, and I appreciate that he acknowledges that this is now seen in many places as a slur, although not seen as a slur in other countries, which means that's unevenly applied. So we still get a lot of decks that say, gypsy deck, gypsy witch, this kind of thing. And, that is what it is. Anyway, I acknowledge that. Anyway, so I was watching him go through this deck, really cute deck, and I was like, oh, that reminds me of my Sibilla deck so much, although it's Eastern European, and Sibilla is an Italian divination system, which honestly I need in my infinite free time to read more about. Anyway, but I love Sibilla cards, like I love Lenormand, like I love Tarot, like I love any cards like this. So I really thought that I had filmed a comparison of these. I saw Simon's video, and I thought, that reminds me of my cards, and I should tell Simon to look at my video, and there was no video. So I'm filming it today. I had actually put all the cards in order to do this, and then I had never filmed it. So these are Sibilla decks. They're all by Lo Scarabeo. They're all still in print, and there are three different Sibillas. We have a Sibilla Indovina here, the Sibilla Oracle cards, used for centuries by the greatest psychics. Anyway, we have the Vera Sibilla Italiana, which I think the Vera Sibilla is the more common form, from what I can tell. Like I say, I haven't had a whole lot of chance to deep dive into this. Follow your heart. It's the everyday oracle. Oracle quotidiano. Oracolo diario. Daily oracle. Anyway, and then the Gypsy Oracle cards. Open the door to good fortune. And this is Sibilla Della Zingara. Sibilla de la Bohemienne. And it's interesting. These two are very similar. The Zingara and Vera Sibilla. And this has a lot of overlap, but it's very different. But I thought I would just do a fun side-by-side walkthrough of these. I do love these so much. And they're so reasonable. They all have, like, tiny little books. I think I've read that one. I suspect there might be things in it that would offend people. And they're little Scarabeo books, you know, in multiple languages. A little bit about how to use the cards in there. Tiny little bit. Okay, so let's do a side by side. And we can see the similarities and the differences. Let me keep these in the frame. Oh, one of these days I will get a better setup. But today is not that day. Again, I'm in the shop. We open in a little while. Underneath the skylight. I think all the glare's up here, so you'll be able to see this. Okay, and Sibilla. It's divinatory. It's kind of like the Lenormand in that way. It's supposed to give you a quick little punchy message. As opposed to, you know, the tarot having the layers of metaphor there. And these are great. But let's just roll through this. A lot of similarities. I've kept it in the order that the Everyday Oracle one comes in, and it's interesting because this one has suits and numbers. This one just has numbers. This one, no suits, no numbers. I'm sticking with this order, and I rearranged these to match that. So you can compare them. Anyway, first deck, well, let's look at the backs first. Very pretty backs. You know, smaller cards, Lenormand size. This says conversation, and we have the 4 other languages down here. This is only in Italian. I did have a semester of Italian, but you will never know it from my accent. La conversazione. And here's the backs for that one. Also very pretty. And this one doesn't have a conversation card, but it does have chattering, which is not quite the same connotation, and we'll see that a lot with this third deck. Okay. We have a house, and we have a house. Oh, I should say the Gypsy Oracle cards, I believe you can find them with either a white border or a black border, and I think it can be hard to tell from the box which one you've ended up with, so I've heard. And then here we have a country house and a city house. So we're starting to see the big differences in the decks already. And again, very pretty packs. Okay. Here we have waiting. And does that mean waiting, or did I just think it looked like waiting? Let's see. Nope, that's lookout, farsightedness, great ambitions. So it's not waiting, but it certainly matched the other pictures. And waiting. And here we have love, little Cupid, amore. Joyfulness. joyous heart. And nothing like that. Here we have money, denare. And again, denare. And this deck is a little more money focused because we have some money, a lot of money, and loss of money. Oh no, down the grate. Here we have a scholar. It was a letterato. And here we have a letterato. And nothing like that here. We have hope. Although honestly, she doesn't look that hopeful to me. But that's a beautiful card, isn't it? Again, Speranza, hope, that lion, or griffin, I guess, and hope. Pretty. Faithfulness. That would also translate, I believe, as fidelity. Okay, the dog always gets to be faithful. There's some cats who are complaining about that. We have the faithful dog again. Interesting that they're all wrapped in ivy. Now this is a fun comparison. We have constancy here and here. And over here we have inconstancy. And here we have the male and female lover. Here translated as lover and sweetheart, but it's amante and amante. And same here. Looks like, I don't know if she's looking at his picture or impatiently looking at a watch. Okay, now over here. Here we have a lord, and here we have a grand signore. Grand signore. No lord over there. We have a room and a room. No room over there. We have a letter and a letter. I love both of these. And here we have a letter, whoops, a letter and also a sweet card. Sweet card, they do, which I think also translates to love letter. All right, we have gifts. And presents. You have a little bit of the old stereotyping in this. We have falseness. Why the kitty? Why the kitty always? We have melancholy. I'm getting glare on these. No melancholy in the third deck. We have thought. And all three have thoughts. It's kind of fun that the third deck has a woman in thought. And here we have two bambinos, the babies. And this didn't have a child card, but it has this tenderness card with a child in it. And the other two don't have a tenderness card, so it might fill some of the same job. Here we have a servant, a female servant. Oh, and I forgot to say, there wasn't a Bambino card here, but there was the tenderness, and there's also an infantilism card here. I gotta stay in frame. Okay, but no female servant over here. Okay, we have pleasure seekers here. And we have El Ariante, which is is that cheerfulness? The delirious. Okay, I was looking in the wrong place. The delirious. Okay. And you know, they're looking a little bit rowdy here too, but they're just pleasure seekers. Here they're delirious. Here I figured we have pleasant pastime, and we also have gamblers, and they seem to be in the same slot. We have a thief with very natty clothing, and again, well-dressed thief. And a thief not climbing in the window, this one. Okay, we have messengers. And here the closest thing we have is important revelation. We have wives. We have merchants. And we have weddings. Let me make sure that this does say wedding before I say it says wedding. Nuptials. Yeah. Okay. So we've got 3 weddings. First time I saw that, I didn't see the ring right away, and I was like, something's on fire. All right, and here we have haughtiness. It's fun that they're both peacocks. before I ever saw the translation, I saw that and I was like, suburbs? Okay, and then we didn't have haughtiness over here, so I just looked for negative emotions, and I found contrariety, displeasure, and anger here. So, not quite the same, but close. We have journeys. And, you know, the iconography, it's not just the terms, the iconography is really close on these. You know, the thief coming in the window, the journey has a horse. You know, you tend to see the same thing over and over again for how it's represented, not just the word. And here we have a journey and we have a trip to the country. Like a little carriage there. Excursion. Excursion's such a good word. Okay, we have a friend, and a sincere friend. Here we have fortune. This didn't have a fortune card, but it had victory. And there is resemblance there. We have it represented, so. We have surprise, surprise. Oh, I should have put this along with fortune, sorry. Okay, before we get to surprise, again, victory, or this is a success card. That's a good one. But here we have surprise, surprise, and surprise. Although their surprises are finding treasure, and hers seems to be that her bird has gotten out of the cage. So this does often have a slightly negative spin. Consolation and consolation. This is grand consolation, big consolation. But yeah, the consolation arriving from beyond. And here we have reunion. Reunion. That's like couples, I believe. And then reconciliation. Cheerfulness. Frivolity. Service. Seems to be the male servant, the counterpart to the female servant before. And here we have a young woman. And we have women varieties over here. We have a blonde woman here. We have a dark-haired woman. We have an angry woman. Look at her. She's fabulous. Here we have doctors. And we have sorrow. And an old woman. And interesting, as we have widower, widower, widow. maladies, sickness. And over here we have weakness. This is interesting. We have death and death. And here we have, he looks like death. That says death. They translated it on this deck as fright. Not quite the same translation. But yeah, this is, you know, more of our Grim Reaper. This with the torch burning next to the coffin, that's sort of interesting. You know what that's about? Let me know if you know what that's about. And then here, I guess this is a version of death flying in to get you. Okay, here we have size. And so I matched that up with absence. Because it does look like they're both sad about somebody who's absent. I really love that one. Look at that ship. Look at her dress. So nice. Okay, here we have misfortune. And again, the iconography. A house burning down. And over here we don't really have misfortune, but we do have an impediment, which, you know, oh, something's in the way of my horse. That's not quite as bad. And we have delay. Oh, there's a holdup. Also not quite as bad. A quarrel, you know, so not quite a match. We have despair here, and goodness, I mean, trigger warning for violence there. Very similar iconography. And here we had a quarrel. We've got prison in these two. We didn't have a prison here, but we do have a trap. We've got soldiers all the way across. This is a much more modern looking soldier. I haven't been holding this in glare the whole time. It's so hard to tell. Enemies. And I believe both decks have male enemies, and these two also have female enemies. Get your enemies lurking around, hiding behind trees, creeping through hallways with snakes, muffled up, waiting for you, always waiting for you. Here's our female enemies. There's translated as foe. Up to no good, either of them. And here we have priests. Very similar looking priests. And then we have a lot of extra cards here. We've got visit, the consultant, female version, the pensioner, love that little dog. We've got the flatterer, protector. I don't know that I trust him. We've got a dark-haired man. Interesting, because I don't think we had a blonde man. And a lawyer. I wonder if he's the counterpart to the Lord in the other decks. Anyway, I hope that y'all enjoyed that. I love these three little decks so much. They are so cool. And like I said, we had the Gypsy Oracle cards, the Sibilla, Della, Zingara. We had the Everyday Oracle, which is the Vera, Sibilla, Italiana. And we had the Sibilla Oracle cards, which is the Sibilla, Indovina. And this is the one that's much more different than the Zingara and the Vera, Sibilla. So, thank you for watching. And I'm curious if anybody uses Sibilla and knows of really good sources to read about how to read the cards, because I haven't found anything really awesome yet. So let me know that. Let me know if you have any Sibilla cards or other ones I should look at. And I hope everybody's having a really great weekend. Y'all take care.